All right. Hello and welcome. You've made it to, what is today? Thursday?
Yeah, day
Thursday.
3.
I always want to say Friday because that's when we normally do the show. Thursday, and we're at Techno Security, and we're live here in Wilmington, North Carolina. So welcome to the 2024 show. You guys probably know this guy, Adam Firman. He's MSAB. Yeah.
People are starting to recognize the voice. I get stopped. Oh, you're the guy who do the videos. So,
yeah. Oh, that's right. You do a lot of the. We had some comments on that. It's like, who's that guy with that voice that does those things? Ah, that's great.
Yeah, colleagues tease me and say you instantly put your presenter voice on.
Yeah.
So, but it's all good fun.
Yeah, that's the way it works. Anyway, you're conveniently located. Literally, MSA's booth is right there. If I could turn the camera, if I was allowed to, I would just show you there, literally right there. And it makes it really nice because I think we were across from each other in Pasadena as well.
We were as well,
Yeah, it worked out really well. Yeah, excellent. Excellent. So you had a talk here at the conference as well.
Yeah.
What kind of presentations did you give? Yours was yesterday?
No, mine was day 1.
Tuesday. Oh gosh, it goes by so quick. Okay.
Yeah. So I did a presentation on Examine because a lot of people have our tool, but unless you're being trained monthly, you soon lose track of what the tool can and can't do.
Sure.
So it was to really bring people up to speed with the advancements in the tool. And even though there was users sat in the presentation who'd been using the product for years, they all walked away and said, I've learned something new.
Yeah.
So that's good. But I was also trying to raise awareness of having a strategy.
Yeah.
So when you start an investigation, no longer can you review every artifact. It's not like when we did it back in law enforcement days, and you had a burner phone with 10 texts on.
Right.
Mobile devices are huge now. So you really have to have a strategy of what you're trying to investigate. You do it in every other element of law enforcement. You'd always have an investigation plan.
Right.
You're not going to, if you're reviewing CCTV for a murder, for example, you're not going to go and seize an entire city's CCTV library.
Right.
You're going to be focused, you're going to know the address, the time. Well, it's no different with forensics, in my opinion.
Right.
So it's sort of showing how the tool can do that for them by applying filters and just taking the time before you dive in to work out what you're trying to do.
Right. And what's some good examples of that to give people some ideas? This is obviously I'm behind on those times. I haven't done an examination in a very, very long time. What would be like a use case for something like that? Because, there's so much. Oh heck, when I was doing phones in law enforcement, it originally started with the flip phones. So there's not much memory there. We didn't have to deal with a whole lot. But now you're dealing with I think my phone's a terabyte of data. It's ridiculous now.
And MSAB is also allowing the end user to extract RAM as well. So
really?
So you've got a terabyte of data on your handset, but some handsets have got 12 gigabyte of RAM.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Which currently is being missed, and people aren't even aware of that capability.
Really?
And so
what types of things hide in the handset's RAM?
If you want to see a third party talking about it, so it's not me trying to sell the product, Alexis Brigoni and Heather do their podcast, and I got Heather to try it out on her own personal device, and she was blown away. But that's probably the best place for people to go and see. Heather found deleted notes that were still sat there in plain text. She'd found and unfortunately she shared her, I think it was her Disney Plus login. So she'd blurred out her password. Yeah. But what do we all do for a living? She hadn't blurred out the hex. So I think she's changed it now. So
So did they do it on one of their shows? Could they go, guys, go check that out for sure. I'll find a link for it for sure and put it down below.
Yeah, so I think she's been really blown away with the capability of RAM, and I know that she's been teaching at IASIS, and it's gone really, the students have been blown away by it. So
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't even consider that. That's not the way I was taught, obviously. It was just, hey, plug it in, push buttons, and pretty much go for it. That's awesome.
And we both did computer forensics, and you're sort of advised, don't pull the plug, grab the RAM. So a lot of people think with phones that they're constantly being power cycled, so RAM's gone. Well, phones are different. The RAM isn't power cycled.
So it's living there and on the memory somewhere. So.
Because the phone never really fully dies.
Right.
So the RAM is just sitting there, and because it's mainly text-based, I think Heather found a deleted message from years.
Wow.
Yeah.
No kidding. So if you're not doing RAM, make sure you start doing it, right? And you can head over to MSAB's website, and you guys have trials. I'm assuming you have a trial, or
we have trials of it.
Sure.
Yeah, talk to a rep.
Yeah.
I publish a weekly video called MSAB Mondays,
right.
and I've featured the RAM capability in those videos. So people can check it out and see it in action.
Where do they find your stuff at?
It's always on YouTube and the MSAB.com.
Excellent. So. I'll grab some links to that too.
Yeah.
And throw over there. And are you still doing podcasts at all?
Yeah. So I run the Forensic Fix podcast.
Oh.
So recently, the most recent episode was episode 16, which featured my old boss. That was quite scary. So he was the ex-chief of police for the police sort of institute that I worked at. But he's heavily involved with Child Rescue Coalition and doing a lot of work in that space now. So he came on, gave a discussion of some of the work that he's doing in the UK and globally with CRC. So.
Very cool stuff. Yeah, so make sure you guys check that one out too. It's good. I think I've been on that one.
You were a guest,
I was on that. So it's definitely good. No, I'm kidding.
Check
you
that.
Probably don't like, oh man, Kevin's been on that. Maybe I don't want to be watch that one.
But so I've been keeping busy with that. I'm also running a new webinar series. So featuring Examine, again, just bringing people up to speed with it for our user base who we know budgets are tight and they can't get out for training.
Oh, yeah.
So, so part one of that is actually next week, June 12th, which is happening 10 a.m. Eastern. So,
okay.
And, if they just look me up on LinkedIn or go to our website, it's going to be listed on there and they can sign up.
Okay, we'll make sure we throw it in Cyber Social Hub events. They may be already there, I don't know. I'll ask Megan, I don't know if she's on or not right now, but we'll ask her and see if it's we can get it up there. And she'll message me here shortly if she's actually watching. I know she's taking care of my role while I'm out here playing and having fun, so she's dealing with all the stuff that goes on in the office. So, that's very cool. Now, a colleague had a talk as well. So my colleague Eugene Cunningham, based over here in the US, Tampa, so the weather here is cold for him. But he did a talk on eSIMs. And it was titled The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. And unfortunately for forensic examiners, there's a lot of the bad and the ugly. And that's something I don't know anything about eSIMs. I know just for my own phone that I didn't have to switch SIMs out. Now they're eSIMs, and I'm like, what the heck? I'm so far out of it now. Do you have basic information of what that is?
So obviously here in the US, you go and pick up the latest iPhone. You have no choice but to have an eSIM. And generally, Apple leads the way. So it will happen to Android as well, but I travel internationally, so I have an eSIM. So I've got my own data plan for when I'm back in the UK. As soon as I travel, I just switch over all my data to the eSIM. And you can have an eSIM set up on your device within 1 minute.
Wow.
And it's traceability. It's identifying which SIM was used. Is my extraction getting me both SIM details? How do I then track?
Holy cow. It's a lot to consider.
It's almost like I liken it to the burner phone. That people can easily discard because the eSIM in my device can have 8 eSIMs. And I can just flick between them all.
Holy cow. Holy cow. I'm sure we have the same phone. I don't even know might have that capability anymore. That's insane. That would be challenging, especially someone like you who's traveling often, and depending on what network that it's set to utilize is where do you find your evidence? Where you have to do follow-up after that if you have to do carrier follow-up.
It's sort of, the hard part is going to be technology such as CRC that's monitoring IP addresses and that sort of thing. Well, if you're constantly switching and burning the eSIMs, you're going to be hard to be held accountable and found.
Cow. I wouldn't even consider that. That's amazing. And he had that talk here at the show. Now, is that available anywhere else yet, or is it?
No,
you guys put it out yet? Oh, so there you go. Now you got a harassing to make sure he puts it out there.
Gene had just scratched the surface of this, and every time he goes hunting, he just ends up shaking his head more and more, and more worried because it's very hard to track like a conversation if people are switching between SIMs.
I know about standard SIM technology. I could just imagine if it's being to the point where it's almost a virtual SIM, right? But they could switch internally in the device.
But even so, I have the latest iPhone, but because I'm in the EU and we bully Apple, I still have a SIM card slot. but I don't use it because it's simpler to just have an eSIM.
Yeah.
So when I upgrade to a new phone, I just press transfer. There's no cards to take out. It's just
Yeah, that's what I just did when I got mine, and I was like, "What is happening right now?" I was like, "Where's the SIM? I gotta,
Yeah, and there's so many providers. So Gene covered some of them. You can just go onto your Play Store or App Store, and there's eSIM providers in there. You install their app, probably load up with $10, and away you go.
Really? See, now I'm going to test it. I'm going to play around with it and test it.
Well, I was teaching a course for MSAB probably about 2 years ago, and one of the students asked me, "Do you cover eSIMs?" And I was like, because whenever you teach, you get asked a question you don't know. And I said, "Well, I'm not sure." So what I did on the lunch hour was install an eSIM, extract my phone, and we didn't at the time. So then fed that into the development team, and thankfully our tool now recovers the details. So you are going to know that an eSIM is in play, but it does make your investigation harder.
Heck yeah. It would.
Yeah.
Oh, now, because then, especially because you usually follow up from device to carrier, right? I mean, there's a process that happens, and then now you have to follow up with, could be 8 carriers in your case? Yeah. That's insane.
And some of the carriers are going to be based in different countries because you've just installed their app from the App Store. And imagine trying to go to them and say, "I want the subscriber details."
Yeah, they're going to go tell you, like, "Oh, you're U.S. search warrant." Nah, sorry.
Nah, it's not going to work here. Yeah.
Doesn't happen like that, right?
Yeah, and it is really cheap. That's the scary part.
I'm gonna look at it now. That's fascinating. So when is your webinar again? I want to make sure people remind. I always remember these are short here at the show.
Yeah.
But I'm so curious. I want to ask you a lot more questions on it. So first, I'm going to get you to commit live on air. You can come back on a longer show.
Yes,
All
I
right,
will.
Excellent. We're going to set the date. We talked about that ahead of time. So
yeah, and the webinar's happening June 12th,
June 12th,
10 a.m. Eastern.
10 a.m. Eastern time.
Yes.
All right. And we're going to definitely post something in Cyber Social Hub for those of you watching. Make sure it's there. Maybe put down in the notes here below so you can go a quick link over to it and register for it.
And mainly if you're using Examine,
Yeah.
I guarantee you will come away from the webinar and go, "I didn't know it could do that." And for those considering Examine, because it's hard when you're in this space. People use multiple tools.
Yeah.
But
you
they
have
get their
to.
comfy slippers on.
Yeah.
They get used to what they're used to. But all the tools have their pros and cons.
Yep.
And a certain investigation type may suit you using Examine. So that's what I try and highlight.
And especially RAM. I mean, who would own RAM as well?
Yeah.
So
you'd be scared what's in your RAM. If you want to come over to
no,
the booth,
absolutely not. We'll just imagine what's in that.
Yeah.
and leave it at that. Well, Adam, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate taking time away from the booth and coming over and chatting with us. We're going to have him on longer, and we'll talk about one of these topics in a little bit more in depth.
No, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. Awesome, man. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you, guys. Hey, we're going to be going live throughout the event. Today is the last day of the show. So I promise, I know I only went live. I was supposed to go live 3 times yesterday. I went once because I got busy doing other stuff. But today we're going to pack everyone in and get the show going today. So until then, just make sure you hit the like button, right? That's important. Hit the subscribe button. Got to remember what my kids always tell me. Yeah. And then the little bell. So that way when we do go live, it notifies you that we went live. So you know, hey, they're live. Let's go see what they're talking about. There you go. That's all there is to it. If you're on, that's all we're broadcasting out to on YouTube.
Yeah.
Normally we're broadcasting out in like 4, but the internet in here is pretty terrible. It's not the venue's fault. It's mine. I have a little portable hotspot, and this is like a big Faraday cage that we're in. It's hard to get a signal that actually goes out. And so we're at least broadcasting out to YouTube. So do all that stuff there, and we'll try to post it over to the other networks. So Adam, again, thanks so much. I appreciate it. And just watch us. We're going to be going live soon. All right, take care. Thanks again, Adam. Thanks.